Hi guys, it's James from Top Support Center in Shenzhen. In today's video, we're going to discuss and we're going to show you how to properly execute a power clean for yourself or for your athletes. We're going to discuss about the phases of the power clean, the proper technique, and proper positions. Okay, so the power clean, we can separate the power clean in 4 different phases. We're going to have phase number 1, which is the first pull. Phase number 2 is going to be the transition. Phase number 3 is going to be the second pull. And finally, we're going to have phase number 4, which is the final catch. So basically at the end of the whole movement. Now let's see the proper positions and technique for the first pull, which is the first phase of the power clean. So in the first pull, what we want to do, we want to have our feet slightly wider than hips. We're gonna have to squat down in a proper position. Hand grip width is gonna be more or less wider than the hips or shoulders. We're gonna have the bar roughly 1 inch away from the shins, and we're gonna have our shoulders slightly above or forward, leaning forward compared to the bar. So this is gonna be a proper position. Also knees and toes facing a little bit outward. So this is going to be our starting position for the first pull. In the first pull, we're going to have to lift. So we're going to push our feet into the ground and lift the bar, and the first pull ends just when we reach the knees in this position here. It's very important that during this phase, the hips or the shoulders do not rise first. So the hips and the shoulders rise together. We want to maintain this angle of the torso rising at the same angle. We're gonna be in position, feet pushing strongly in the ground, shoulders and also blades over here, so rotator cuff retracted, pushing onto the ground and raise. And this is gonna be the end of our first pull on the first phase of the power clean. Let's look at this first pull one more time. So feet wider than hips, hand grip wider than shoulders, slightly wider than shoulders, toes and knees pointing forward, outside, bar near the shins, about 1 inch away from the shins, shoulders above or slightly forward from the bar, push into the ground and raise those hips. The second phase of the power clean, it's called the transition. We're transitioning from below the knees to above the knees. In this situation, we're going to maintain always also the same angle of the torso from shoulders to hips. We're going to maintain the hips above the bar or slightly forward, and we're simply opening our hips and our knees, and we're sliding our knees under the bar. So we're going to maintain the same position and raising the bar until we're going to reach on our thighs. So we're over here, first pull. We keep the shoulders above the bar, transition, and we're gonna raise the bar on our thighs. So this is gonna be the end of the transition. We're gonna want to have our shins vertical and strong onto the ground. Phase number 3 of the power clean, it's called the second pull. So basically, at this point, we have the bar above our thighs, above our knees. We're gonna perform the triple extension. So we're gonna have plantar extension, knee extension, and hip extension. So the triple extension. Our focus for the bar is to go up, and we do not want to have our shoulders leaning backwards in any case scenario. So we're gonna be in this position, shoulders above the barbell, vertical shins, strong in the ground, and we're gonna perform a triple extension. We're gonna perform first hips, then knees, and then feet. And then we're gonna also perform a final shrug of the shoulders. This is gonna be for last. Another important aspect when we're in this position is that we want to drive the hips towards the bar, and we do not want to pull the bar towards the hips. It's important that we're extending by driving the hips forward and allow this bar then to push and come up towards the shoulders. Another important thing is that from this position, when we start the extension, we do not lean backwards. This is something that a lot of people will do. We do not want to lean backwards when we're pulling. We want to keep our shoulders above until the last second and then perform extension towards the air. The final phase is the catch. So the catch, we're gonna have our barbell on our clavicles, shoulders facing forward, close, and we're gonna have our barbell sitting on them. After we perform the triple extension, we're gonna be in a quarter squat position, bar on the shoulders. If the shoulders are in a correct position, you can also free your hands, and this is gonna be the final portion of the power clean. Now let's see some of the most common mistakes that a lot of people do when they're performing the power clean. Let's go back to the first pull, so phase number 1 of the power clean. The most common mistake that a lot of people will do will be rising the hips before the shoulders, or not with the shoulders. A lot of people, they will be in this position and they will perform a hip and knee extension before even raising a bar, like this. This will put all the tension on the hamstrings, and this is what will cause a lot of injuries in athletes. The second mistake that a lot of people will do instead will be the opposite, raising the shoulders before even raising the hips. Remember, during the first pull, we want to have shoulders and hips and this angle of the torso raising together at the same angle, maintaining the same angle throughout the end of the transition. Another of the most common mistakes that happens, we mentioned this before, is during the second pull, that instead of driving the hips forward, we are pulling the bar towards the hips and we're leaning with our shoulders backwards. This will cause our body during the catch to fall backwards. Now let's look at the full movement in separate motions and in separate phases. Position. We're gonna have first pull, transition, second pull, and then final catch. Let's show this in a single motion. And final catch in a quarter squat. One more time. First pull into transition, pull, and now let's see some variants of the power clean, because we have other type of power clean that we can perform for our athletes. The first variant is going to be the hang clean. So basically the hang clean, the name suggests we're starting from a hang position. We can start with a high hang clean, a medium, or a low hang clean. The situation is the same. We're not going to have the first pull, but we're going to add an eccentric absorption to the movement. So we're going to be in the position of the second pull. We go down back to transition and pull up. Another variant is similar to a hang clean. We're going to call the drop clean. This is very useful for jumpers and also sprinters, because we're going to add more eccentric absorption by leaving the ground and performing a drop on the ground. So we're going to perform first a drop. So we're lowering from second pull to transition. We're performing drop and pull up. One more time, drop and pull. A third and final variation that we can perform this both hang or from the ground. Now let's do it from the ground, so full clean. It's gonna be the split clean. So basically we're gonna start in a normal position. We're gonna perform first pull, transition, second pull, and we're gonna end up in a split stance at the end. So one more time. Perform first pull, transition, second pull, and bam. A final split position. That's it for today's video. We discussed about the first pull, transition, second pull, and catch, the most important way to do it, the most important techniques to look at, and the main errors that you need to look at when your athletes are performing the power clean. So thank you for joining us in this video. This is James from Top Support, and see you next time.